What is happening, bowlers? Chris Beans here with Bowlers Rant, bringing you part 3 on the USBC approval discussion and FAQ deep dive. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and turn on those notifications. If you didn't catch videos part 1 and part 2, links are in the video description. I suggest you go watch those and then come back and catch this one. We're going to pick up where we left off yesterday on the equipment specifications FAQ with point number 8. So let's jump into it. Why was the USBC testing bowling balls at the Masters? They say the testing at the USBC Masters was unrelated to storm product issues, and the testing was ongoing research on how urethane balls would measure over time. Okay, so this has been a thing we've been talking about about urethane hardness for some time now, and they're probably testing all the brands there, so that is not surprising. But at the Masters, they were continuing this hardness testing. They were asking if players would volunteer to bring bowling balls to the designated area for testing, right? And if it was not required, and the USBC staff would explain the process. And they're saying 114 balls were evaluated, 13 of which were checked 2 years ago, and they're going to publish this data later. So that's going to be interesting. I'm sure we'll come back to that. Number 9, why did the USBC not allow players to view the testing, and why was it done behind a curtain? So this is a sore spot, I think, for a lot of people, which is, why do you have to do it behind a curtain? They're saying each ball can take 3 to 5 minutes. That's also in a thing, right? It only takes 3 to 5 minutes, but it takes 5 hours to certify the ball. But I guess it's just for hardness, so let's go with it. If the tester is having a conversation with the player, then it would take much longer. The curtain is simply used to provide a workspace without distraction or interruptions for the staff completing the hardness test. The integrity of the results also require a similar environment from test to test. Additionally, it would be unfair to ask players to submit their equipment for research, then allow the public and competitors to view the results. I don't know if I agree with that, to be honest with you. I mean, the TSA at the airports, they check all of our stuff and they do it in the open, and it's minimal discussion. They just keep telling you, move left, move left. You could have people testing and have somebody play, point to interact with anybody who's watching and not disrupt the process. So I don't know that that's a great answer, but I can tell you right now, if you're looking for transparency and integrity, black curtains and closed door testing is just not the way to do it. Full stop. Number 10, did these tests have anything to do with the issues of storm product balls? No, they are not related. None of the 6 storm-affected balls were tested at the SBC Masters. No reactive balls of any brand were tested. So again, this was just urethane, and I think, there's a timing issue here, and people were wondering, hey, what's going on? But these tests are being conducted for the SBC to research the effects of hardness in urethane balls over time. Okay. Number 11, why did the USBC decide to remove these bowling balls in the middle of 2 nationals tournaments? And their answer is when the USBC determined the balls were out of specification, they needed to be immediately removed from national tournament competitions. Rule 312 gives USBC this authority. Yeah, that's true, but the timing and execution of this is just simply poor, and I talked about that in the other videos, and I'll just reiterate. I would argue there should be, they should revisit this, and 2 weeks before any competition at the national level, there should be a lockout. No decertification of balls of any type. You could even argue no certification of any type. So balls, within 2 periods, even if they get introduced, cannot be used in those competitions. That way, it's fair to everybody, right? I think there should be a lockout period. No changes, and that for those 2 weeks before lead up to the tournament, it's locked out. What's certified is what's certified. People can use it, and then afterwards they can go back and revisit it. I think it would solve a lot of problems in terms of execution and timing. So just an opinion on my part. Let me know what you think. I would like to know if anybody else has any ideas about how they could solve this problem. Number 12, how is it fair that someone may have competed early in the SBC Open Championships with one of these balls? This is actually a good answer. The balls were approved for competition at the time until they were identified as out of specification, and the rules require the scores to stand when bowled with the equipment deemed compliant with the equipment at the time being used. Yes, that makes sense. It wasn't, a bad ball at the time until they found out. Again, it's just the execution of when they determined them. Now, there's this other section here called bowler impact, and they're saying, why did they not revoke all the affected storm product balls from all USBC certified competition? And, what they're saying is they're just prohibiting them from the national tournaments was the best outcome versus revoking them from all certified competition. Again, that's dependent upon how the local leagues and tournaments govern themselves. And, Storm is offering to exchange for a new product if you're not happy about it. And so right now, these balls are approved. A lot of people have been confused about this. These balls are approved for USBC certified leagues and tournaments. Okay, unless your league or tournament prohibits them from being used. That's a factual statement, and the USBC is stating that. So just to clarify, they are currently allowed unless if there's an override by your local league or tournament. But they also say leagues can govern themselves, and you guys can vote, right, about what should be allowed and what should not be allowed. About 97% of all USBC certified leagues are contested on house conditions that typically provide bowlers with more area to hit the pocket. Okay. In this case, impact to hardness is less significant. And they go on to really even talk about this. And so point 14 is just a continuation of 13, which is, why is this not as impactful on a house condition? Well, there's 13 categories that impact reaction characteristics. Hardness is number 9 on that list, which has overall impact. Can't talk today. House conditions are inherently more forgiving. So you have a lot of hold area in a house pattern, right? And it's greater in a house condition, and the reaction of the ball is going to be more predictable from a variety of angles. So, the impact of a bowling ball being softer is not that great. On sport conditions, however, they're saying it could potentially provide an advantage, and that's what they're trying to solve. Understandable. Again, it's the how. It's not the why. If I own one of the 6 affected bowling balls and want to keep it, can I? And they say yes. You get the choice. You don't have to exchange it because they are still allowed in your local leagues, unless if your local association says no, you can't use them. So if you want to exchange one of the balls, just go to the Storm website and you can cover that. And last but not least, if a bowler shoots an honor score in a certified competition with one of these bowling balls, will the USBC still recognize it? The answer is also yes. Okay, so again, for local leagues and tournaments where they're allowed in USBC certified competition, they will be recognized as long as the competition, league, or tournament did not choose to prohibit it from its rules. So that's it. I mean, this is pretty straightforward and simple. And again, if you want to look at the equipment specification manual, there's a link to that in there. You can query that on the internet. It's not that difficult to see. So that wraps us up for the FAQ. And I think, again, if you look at what we've covered over the last, all the content in this 3-part series, I just see that there are some discrepancies in statements. I see an opportunity to present more data, and I see opportunities to present citations upon process, how it's executed. And I see some opportunities on where they can shore up, no pun intended, relative to the hardness scale, where they can improve the overall program in terms of governance and in terms of standards being applied to what is required to certify a bowling ball. They're making it too hard. I think this is a difficult process. I understand that they're trying to, make it fair, but there's just got to be a better way to do it, because right now it's just being executed entirely too poor. But after all 3 of this, the court of public opinion is the most important, because we, the USBC bowlers, are the ones that have to deal with this on the local level, because what's happening at the national level really isn't impacting most of us, unless if you are going to the national tournaments. And if you are, then you have a vested interest. But even not, you still have a vested interest. So what do you think about all this? Do you think that the USBC is doing a good job? Do you think the USBC is still relevant? Do you think we still need the USBC? And if so, why do we need the USBC? Drop me a comment. Let me know. Let's continue the conversation. I'm not sure if we're going to cover more about this. We'll see, but I'd like to know what everybody else thinks. I'd like to hear some comments from you guys. And more updates are coming. And as usual, bow well.